All right, so we're back. Got some better toys now, so we're actually going to find out a little bit more information. None of that old stuff from like the 1800s. I've calculated that there is based on the fact that the lake should be still draining, I think it was 99% chance that it's gone down 16 inches, a 90% chance that it's gone down 18 inches, and then a 75% chance that it is drained to where it needs to be. This, of course, is assuming that it's been draining the whole time and that it hasn't rained, which I can't guarantee. So we're gonna go check and see what. All right, so check it out. The lake is drained a little bit more. My hypothesis is this black line was actually formed when we saw it, and it kept going down. You can now see that we've actually reached the mud layer. This isn't the same color as the sand, and that tells you something. And now you can see how far down it is, and you may be asking yourself a question. You know, how is it as deep as the ticker thing says it is? Well, the situation is, as you can see right here, as soon as you get to this edge right here, it really takes off. And I know this because I've dived this before. I would estimate that about just 6 feet out, it's picked up about 3 feet in depth. So remember when I said that this pier out here is at 12 feet? This is what causes that. So we're gonna go up and check something out. All right, so I've got the proper tool for the job now. It's a much longer, much more flexible tape measure. So we're going to be using that, and we're going to figure out exactly how much this is drained. They said between 5 and 6, so we should be expecting somewhere around there, assuming that it's drained, which I don't think it is because the level is actually still going down. And I checked the overflow. It's taken a minute to get this because I'm trying to fight the wind here. And okay, right there, it's just touched the water. So not as much as I thought. It's kind of BS my prediction. There was a 1% chance per my prediction that it was not going to be lower. So we can say anywhere between 53 and 55, judging by that watermark. So let's just say it's 54. So this is just 10 more inches down. But that extra amount allows you to see down there the deeper areas. You know, I want to point an interesting thing out that I notice here, sort of layering. I don't know what causes this. Maybe they're draining it at different intervals. I don't know what that thing is. It looks like a towel. But so, okay, this we have sand here, which is very solid, and then this outcropping here, this area where it jumps up, that's all mud. But then you keep going again, and now it becomes solid sand again. Then you go to the next platform, it's mud, and you keep walking up to the area, and now it's sand. So I'm actually not sure what causes that, but that is quite interesting. Let's see how far we can get to the boat cove going this way. Now this is a pretty cool toy I got. This is a water thermometer, and it measures the temperature. It's kind of hard to see in both centigrade and Fahrenheit, from 60 C 140F down to about 40 and 5 C. Keep in mind, under normal atmospheric conditions, you really wouldn't want to care much below 32, because then you're in ice, and you know, I mean, just use an infrared thermometer. Wow, at that's that point. Almost unreadable. Anyway, the response was pretty quick, but it's pretty much settled out about 58 degrees or 15 centigrade. That's actually surprising because the water does not feel cold, and I've swam in waters colder than this and had no problems, so that is really surprising. Alright, so here's what the dock looks like with the water drained out as much as it is. It's probably going to be a little bit more rickety than normal because the water does add some density, which will cushion the vibrations that occur. This is a lot higher now. Now again, like I said, this is typically deep enough where you can actually dive off of it. Probably not today. It would be about 2 meters. So this gives you a pretty much clear vantage perspective of everything. So it's very different perspective than when this is full of water. Okay, I have difficulty believing that the water is 58 degrees Fahrenheit and 15 Celsius. I just put my feet in the water and it was not cold at all. And I'm not even Russian, so that doesn't make sense. Anyway, if you don't care about geology, you can skip this section. But I'm basically going to talk about what I see in the different layers here. First we have a very fine-grained sand. It's just like basically a powder. And this is basically probably filling up with silt because of all the stuff draining up here. In fact, that's exactly what it is. Because if you look, the larger stones are left deposited, and then you have these tracks here. Yep, and you can see a deposit. That's almost like an alluvial fan right there, just spreading everything out. So that goes down to about, I'd say, the 2-foot mark, and then you start to get these sort of dunes. And they seem to be rich in clay. Because I know the clay under here is fairly orange. So we see that down from, I'll say, 2 to 3 feet. And then at 3 feet, there's kind of a conversion again to a soft kind of fine grain sand. And I'm not sure what causes that. So it's that same layering. I don't know what causes these layers, if maybe the lake is filled at a different rate or what. But and then we have this mysterious black line. I don't know what causes it, but I'm almost thinking that there's some table under here that we can't see, and a layered formation. And as soon as you hit this formation, this sort of black stuff is carried underground through water, and the water just basically encroaches out here. This lake is filled with underground springs as well as small streams, so it's possible that there is some water flow, although most of it is much deeper down. And then we finally have a transition to sort of a muddy thing, and that starts at about 4 feet and pretty much continues all the way down to the water line. And there's a little slope there that goes off to at least another 3 feet. I've dyed this to 7. And then from there it plateaus until you get to that power pole. Once you're straight out from that power pole, it very quickly takes off from 7 to 15. And then it holds 15 for a little bit before... And then it holds 15 before going all the way down. So now I'm going to talk about the slope. So I took 3 measurements. One between this last hut here and a dock on the other side there. And then again, be straight out from that lifeguard chair. And then a third time out from that stairwell there. And what I've noticed is every single time the slope is approximately 54 inches to 41 feet. In other words, everywhere I go, it's 41 feet between the shoreline and the actual current shore. And what that tells you is that obviously sand doesn't just grow here by its own. It has to be delivered here. So that was most likely a intentional grade by the engineers who deposited the sand to evenly spread it out. That's a rough 10 to 1 slope, so that would make sense. First new artifact. Somebody's glasses looks kind of bronzish in color, maybe a little bit darker brown. I don't know what that color is. It might be like mauve or something. We don't have dogs this time, but I think this time we have geese. I'm going to test your memory. Remember what my previous examples were on what I hauled up? One of them, asphalt. There's a sizable asphalt chunk right there. That's like something I would bring up, and you have to ask yourself, why is this thing here? There is something very large under the water there. It looks like it might be about 1 foot by 1 foot and maybe about 4 inches high. I thought maybe it's a turtle, but I don't know. Got a chunk of concrete here, and I heard some bubbling earlier. Most likely underground springs flowing in. Look at that. That's another asphalt chunk. That looks fresh. That's got like no deposits on it. That makes me wonder. So remember how we were talking about this being a double slope? Well, here's the first section, and this is where the water was drained out to. Now here's the second section. Keeps going down. Again, you know, there are sections in here that I think are steeper than 1 to 1, and you can actually see this area here is so steep that, well, this may have been footsteps, but it may have also overcame the angle of repose, which is really impressive. So you wonder what causes that. I don't know about you guys, but for me, this enables me to see quite a bit further into what's going on. I'm also finding something rather suspicious over there, so I'm going to have to make an investigation that's quick. So over here, just that extra 12 inches or so lets you really see the slope of the dam there, the dam face, so that's pretty impressive. The other thing I notice here is that I'm saying impressive a lot. That looks like concrete padding to some degree, so I'm curious about that. Folks, I really hate this. See that? That's a broken bottle on a rock. That was not there last week. Whoever did that needs to realize that there are swimmers here, and I could step on that, or even worse, grab it. I would think, ooh, you know, gems and stuff, right? Grab, and then suddenly I can end up with several cuts. Not good, people. So this is pretty funny. Ever since I was young, I always thought that cinder blocks looked like two pipes put together. And we're actually on top of them right now. They're straight down there. So there's that over those two. Okay, so we're back on this side. Took another measurement of the water temperature, and this time it was 60. So I'm amazed at the amount of variation between there. There's some sort of orange plume here that extends from the surface down there. I think I can see it in the camera's coloration, but that is unusual. I'm not entirely sure what this is. It looks like part of the pen. It's weird. Here we go. Here's something from the middle era of technology. We got a CD here. Let's see if we can get this cleaned up a bit so we can actually read what's on here. So that looks like Kid Rock, Afro Man, Green Day. I don't feel like dancing. I don't feel like keeping either. There you go. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, look at that. It slipped its way down the slope. It's that steep. Some more rocks. Caution cone again. Looks like some doofus either attempted retrieval or a hide, because you can see big long thing here, and then a fresh patch of sand down there, slid about 1.5 feet. So now that's going to be down 50 inches from the surface. Oh my God, look at this. This is like looking like somebody's stash. I did not find this the last time I was here, but it had to have been dragged up because we're way up near the surface. Got pennies in there, car keys, looks like some sort of valuables box. Perhaps they were maybe attempting to do away with all of this stuff so that nobody could get to their stuff, but I'm sorry, unless you deposit it right in the middle, you're not going to be good enough in hiding your loot. I can do it. I can get it all the way out to the middle and drop it. I'm not going to do something like that because that's polluting. This dam face truly boggles me. On the front end, it's like, I think around 2 feet normally. The back end looks like it would be about 7 or 8, depending on where you are. Last week on video analysis, I determined that there was a pipe at the bottom of this structure draining it. But what's really strange about it is now that the water's down about 10 extra inches, surprise, there's now some sort of strange block with holes in it that has appeared. But here's the weirder thing. It looks like the water's down below it, but there's still water draining. So now I have to figure out what this thing is and what its role is. I know it's not to drain, at least what I can see, because there's water still going into it. So it's not spilling over top of it. It must be coming in through the side. Very strange, but hopefully I can figure out how this works. All right, so I took a look with my telescope up this big incline, and it allowed me to get a vantage point down into that thing. And basically, it's just like, it's like a bunch of building rafters. I don't know what that thing's purpose is, but I can't seem to see any sort of detail there that would allow water in. So baffled once again. Maybe the inlets are further down. All right, check this out now. Psych! Dam erosion at its finest. And now I'm out of memory. Had to switch cameras. I ran out of memory on the other one. Apparently I liked it so much. Okay, so here is the boat dock with 4.5 feet of water drained. Now it's funny, I saw a truck coming down this way, a big old truck with a boat trying to launch, and then I saw him coming back to where I was earlier with a whole lot of mud on his mud flaps, and I know why that is. It's kind of funny. Don't know what that blue thing is. Somebody stuck that thing up, probably as a joke to see what happens. It looks like it has rained. You see all that erosion through there? That was not there last time. You can clearly see where this cove is fed from. There's that stupid bench. And now I see some ugly iron structure that looks like it wouldn't be very good to stand on. So that is normally about 4 feet down. And yeah, it just spreads out into the same thing, alluvial fan. You can see it right here. In fact, this is so intense, it's more of a delta. And then the fan would be under there. So now this surprises me. Those logs there are normally run hazards for propellers. It's surprisingly steep on this side, but I thought this would be a lot steeper. When I was a kid, I used to think that the 5-foot line was about here, and then right about 10 where that is, and then it'd be 20. Maybe it's still 20 by the time you hit the cove, but or the main stem. But that's what I thought. Interesting stuff here.